Hello, everyone, and welcome back at SMAU for just another panel when we're going to talk about ecosystem development from a startup point of view. So I'm Alessia Cameron. I'm really happy to have you here, where we're going to host this conversation from players coming from all around the world and really bringing their experience. I have more than 10 years experience in startups and ecosystem as well. I've been working in Italy and the UK, Germany and France now at Conto. So I'm going to be your moderator, and I will make sure that all the value that I can extrapolate from the speaker is going to be brought to you. So we're going to kick off with pitches from startups that I really wanted to get in touch with corporates and really getting into understanding how they can bring to the market their services. So I will call on stage the startups, and they're going to have 1 minute to introduce themselves. So the first one is Astro Group. Is Astro Group here? Yeah, please come over so that you can do the pitch.
Hi everyone, I'm Angelo Sorbello. I'm from Astro Group, it's our venture studio. We come from quite a strong experience with AI. We previously sold a company in this field, and through this experience we are here to present a platform. It's called NutraSmart. It's focused towards longevity. Our goal is to help people, everyone, use AI so that they can have a more personalized journey in their longevity and health. And what we do is we use AI and we combine it with real-time data so that our level of accuracy is extremely high. The platform is available for free so that everyone can have a democratized access to a personalized journey towards a longer life. Longevity, we all live longer, but it's also about our health span, how much the quality of that lifespan. So that's something that we are trying to build right now to have a positive impact. You can come at our stand over there, and we'd be happy to show you our platform and our solution with Astro Group. We are doing some great things in cybersecurity and other fields, and our companies have been showing some really solid traction. We got featured on Forbes, Business Insider multiple times, Newsweek. So we are seeing some pretty good traction. Happy to show you around our ecosystem.
Thank you, Astro Group. A big round of applause for you. Next one on stage is Culto. Is Culto here? Because I'm not sure they are here. So maybe you're going to go to Poseidon HyperS. A big round of applause for Poseidon HyperS, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Heidi. I'm from Poseidon HyperS. And basically what we do a battery, so energy storage. Energy storage is a future strategy for the enabler to renewables energies. So Europe is going to 2030 to a big installation of the renewables. And of course, for having efficiency in renewables, you need storage. Now storage is done only through lithium batteries, but lithium has a lot of problems. There are environmental problems, geopolitical problems. So all the new technologies in terms of storage go towards other technologies. And what we do with Poseidons, basically, we like to call it something that you can drink. It's a battery that you can drink. I know it sounds a little bit like a paradox, but really the materials that are inside the battery are food grade 100% because it's made of salted water and zinc. So salted water through a reaction into hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is the thing that you use to disinfect your wounds, so something that is not toxic at all. You can store through this reaction, chemical reaction, you can store energy. And what we do through these materials, we are able to guarantee a long duration storage. So we go beyond lithium. Lithium is now around 4 hours of storage. We go to beyond 8 hours. And totally European supply chain. So all these materials are available in Europe, and this is very important because we know that now many materials that are in the batteries, not only lithium, but also the other one like cobalt, for example, comes from areas of the world where there are political issues. So we were born with the idea of being environmental. Okay. Our stand is there, so come and visit us because we have our prototype there. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Spliven, the next one on stage, please. A big round of applause for Spliven.
Thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. I promise I'll keep this short, as much as Sicily's winter, where I'm from. I'm Davide Fede, the founder of Spliven, and we are committed to revolutionize the energy sector, the Italian energy sector, through the power of energy communities and collective self-consumption groups. We believe in the power of local energy systems that empower neighborhoods, small businesses, and municipalities to take charge of their energy future. In fact, we're working with one energy communities in Ferla, one of Sicily's hidden gems, and 4 more communities in progress. Our goal isn't just to provide data. Thanks to our proprietary software and third-party smart devices, we aim to provide our users actionable insights to improve their energy usage, reduce their costs, and their environmental impacts. At Spliven, we are committed to sustain a more decentralized and sustainable energy system that empowers, that gives value to community impact as much as efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spliven. Next one on stage is Save Your Life. A big round of applause for Save Your Life.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Francesca Fossil, and our mission is to help people get found easily on the mountains. On the 9th of October, a 65-year-old man who went to the forest to find mushrooms disappeared. He fell, he called for help, but now, the 29th of October, he is still not found. Same thing happened to a 35-year-old man, and after 26 days, his research has ended, and he is still not found. Do you know how many people die on the mountain? 500. And of these 500, 100 is no longer found, despite all the technologies and all the people who try to find them. Our mission is to help them. We have patented 2 devices, a mechanical and a satellite one, to help people get found, not after months or weeks, but after hours, 12 hours maximum. If you have any question or doubts, we are at the stand B02, and we are happy to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Todd System, the next one on stage. Do we have Todd System? Maybe they're not arrived yet. So maybe you Addict, next one on stage, please. A big round of applause for you, Addict.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Anna, CEO. Hi, I'm Anna, CEO and co-founder of UAddict. We offer a virtual personal stylist based on AI, integrable with e-commerce, to offer to their customers personalized suggestions based on their own preferences and styles. Our models can create outfit by matching products from customers' wardrobe with the products from the brand catalogs. Our idea is to optimize shopping choices by maximizing current closet utilization to avoid waste and reduce the returns. We think that today technology can offer more personalized and sustainable shopping experiences by helping clients and companies in the fashion industry. We are supported in this project by EIT Digital, our investor who gave us also the opportunity to meet our strategical partners, the University of Barcelona and Abstract, a big Italian IT consulting company. And we collaborate also with some Italian fashion companies to hardly work on research and development to face the important challenges of the fashion industry, like innovation and sustainability, but always keep in mind the real needs of the fashion sector. Thank you, and if you want to know something more about us, please reach us at the B58. Thank you.
Thank you. And last one on stage, Culto. If they arrive, please, a big round of applause for Culto.
Everybody, hi, hello. Can I start? Okay. Okay, hello. I have started to work into the cannabis world since 2013. In these 10 years, I've lived many failures, but also some good points. Let's say that in these 10 years, at least I recognize the two main problems of this world. The first one is the completely lack of traceability. That means that in Italy, if you buy cannabis CBD flowers, you really don't know where these flowers came from. And the second problem is the supply standardization. So with Culto, the startup which I am a co-founder, we built a vertical farm. In this place, we rent our growing rooms to the clients who want to do research, who want to learn how to grow a new modern crop which saves water, doesn't consume soil, and have a real experience of what does it mean grow cannabis flowers with pharmaceutical standards. In any case, we're collecting data to develop software to make growing pharmaceutical cannabis flowers easy and safe. If you have any questions, it would be my pleasure to have a deep conversation with you. My name is Luca. Thanks.
Thank you, Culto. Next one on stage is Todd System. A big round of applause for Todd System.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gianvito, Todd System, Calabria. And we have developed a cobot, collaborative robot, that is autonomous, flexible, modular, pretty small, 80 per 60 centimeters. And it is within the niche of the big industrial robots and collaborative with the workers. It applies AI, it's an applicative AI, not just on the net. So the robotic arm on an insula can collaborate with the worker for one role or another role for another task. It does not have any specific vertical. The most natural one is in logistics and stocking, pick and place, but it can be applied more in CNC machineries, welding, quality control of weldings, of electronic schemes, microscopes, materials. So you can virtually apply it wherever is a manipulation and wherever is something that needs to be worked in a very specific and very precise way on 3 different shifts. We are looking for an internationalization for Series A series to expand North America and in DACH for next year. Thank you very much. If you have questions behind this scheme, we are here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Todd System. I think we can kick off the panel now. I'm going to invite on stage my panelists. So starting with Can Aaron, Investment Manager at 500 Emerging Europe. A big round of applause. Please take a seat here. Yes, here. Then Felix Gugler, Venture Client Lead at Combien Foundry. Silvia Fierro, Head of Open Innovation Ecosystem and Partnerships at Eni. Antonio Baccari, Partner and CFO at Field Venture. Adam Ubrankovics, Head of Ecosystem Development and Solution for Startups at Intesa San Paolo Innovation Center. And Jonathan Heed, Venture Partner at Sansar Ventures. Cool. I think that we can start with a very, very quick introduction of each of you and the company you represent here today. It's going to be a very tough job to have all your saying what you want to say, but we'll make sure that we're going to get to that. You want to start?
Can I start? Yeah. So this is Khan. I help run 500 Emerging Europe, an early stage fund, pre-seed and seed stages investing in Eastern European founders that want to take on the US as an end market. That's why I'm based between San Francisco and over here in Europe, running a 70 million euro fund. So with that, let me pass it to my friend.
Felix Kugler, nice to meet you. I help run Combient Foundry, and we connect the largest European manufacturing companies and pharmaceutical companies with the world's leading startups and help them to run projects together.
So thank you, and this is Silvia Fierro. I work for ENI, so over here, work for ENI at the corporate venture unit, and so of course we work with startups, and we mainly work, of course, to generate value and to work with them through POCs and tests of technology.
Good afternoon, I'm Antonio Baccari. I'm one of the founding partners of Field Venture. We are a venture capital firm based in London, and our mission is to invest in companies that have at least one Italian co-founder globally. We raised our first fund. We are raising the second at the moment, and we are investing mainly in energy, healthcare, manufacturing, and e-commerce.
Good afternoon to you all. Adam Obrankovic from Intesa Sanpaolo Innovation Center, Head of Ecosystem Development and Solutions for Startups. We are representing today Intesa Sanpaolo Innovation Center, which is the group company of Intesa Sanpaolo, focusing on managing innovation projects, and we are the frontier of innovation for the whole group.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Eade. I'm from London originally, but work for the Impact Venture Unit of a British family office based in Berlin, looking at early stage startups in various impact themes, little bit on anything that advances humanity as well.
Cool, thank you very much. So I think we're gonna start talking a little bit more around ecosystem, which is also the topic of this panel. So I'm starting with you, Khan, on really wanting to understand a little bit more your investing experience across different ecosystems and how we can apply the best practices of those ecosystems to Italy. Which is your take on this?
So that's an interesting question because we see a lot of different ecosystems investing in the Bay Area, San Francisco, because we also invest in the diaspora of these countries. So think of like, I don't know, Greek founders in San Francisco, say like Italian founders in San Francisco as well. And there, the ecosystem is the most advanced, right? Like you have endless amount of liquidity. Every coffee shop that you go to, every other meeting is a startup meeting an investor, and that's the best place in the world. And coming behind from that, we see a lot of different peripheral ecosystems as well. Looking into, for example, the Baltics, they're a very interesting ecosystem with a lot of local investor presence, and I think it always starts with local market liquidity. So I'm seeing great things happening here in Italy as well with the GDP, investing in the local market and bringing emerging managers to the table to be able to come in and lead these rounds. But then again, you have very different types of investors, right? Like when you say an early stage, it starts from like inception capital, starting from the idea stage to seed, Series A, and every other investor have different opinions on this. So in every layer of the early stage ecosystem, you need investors that want to put capital at risk. And I think the cycle is going towards there, and the Italian ecosystem is always getting much better in that sense. Having been tracked the French ecosystem or the UK ecosystem in Europe, unluckily, until now, I'm seeing good stuff happening here. That's why I'm here, exploring the ecosystem to hopefully become another foreign investor in Italy.
Cool, thank you. And Felix, I think that maybe you can also explore a little bit more what it does mean cross-collaboration of different industries into an ecosystem, how this ecosystem can be developed by this cross-collaboration.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So I think when it comes to cross-industry collaboration and also collaboration with different corporates, we have to, or where we saw the potential is really that a lot of the companies on a high level are facing quite similar issues, right? Digitalization, AI, energy, these are all the topics that we all are facing. And what we do with our companies is really help them collaborate on very tangible topics and see, okay, some solution has worked for this industry. Can we learn something for another industry? Can we perhaps even work with the same startup or should we stay away from certain startups because it, for example, hasn't worked? So for us, it's really about sharing data, but then also sharing the learnings between the industries so that we can all move faster together, basically.
And getting then to Eni, Silvia Fierro, what is Eni looking for an ecosystem when willing to work within an ecosystem? So that we are linking with Felix
Yes,
point.
exactly. I was about to quote you, Felix. We have all the same issues as a corporation. We all have the same issues, so maybe some of the verticals that you described before, we also be working with those verticals. So I think that as an ecosystem, we should go back to the definition. So ecosystems in the natural world are actually a group of entities that are collaborating with each other in order to create relationships, value, right? So as a corporation, we are part and we need to be part of those ecosystems with startups, with, of course, investors as you, with institutions, because they are very important there. But what actually ENI is looking for when collaborating within those ecosystems, mainly startups. So mainly work and find the best startups, because that's why and that's our job. And I agree also with you. One of the best ecosystems is actually Bay Area. So last year, $700 billion have been invested in Silicon Valley and 360 billion, more or less, in Europe. So the gap is really big. So that's why we need to also look abroad, not really just here, just in Italy. We do work a lot in Italy, but then we need to work and we need to look abroad, and that's where also our partners, our other corporations that we normally also work with, that's also why and what ENI is looking for.
And Alberto, we are talking about international ecosystem. I think that you can also add to the conversation your experience of Italy versus the UK, London ecosystem, right?
Yes, well, we funded Field Venture because we saw the gap in the market between the Italian ecosystem and the rest of Europe. And we were looking at many Italian founders coming to London, pitching for their startups and basically never getting money. At the same time, we also saw that the ecosystem in Italy obviously is a little bit behind the rest of Europe, and there's no involvement of private capital into the ecosystem. And we see that in London, in the US, or in the northern Nordics, it's very common for private investors to basically put the money into startups and not only giving them the capital, but also the know-how and the expertise to help them scaling the company and becoming, from pre-seed to seed, seed to Series A. So there are different stakeholders, as the gentleman was saying before, that need to get involved at different stages. And obviously, our ecosystem is still trying to figure out who has to support which stage of the scale of growth of a company. And that's where we came in. We wanted to, on one end, to get private investors on board, so corporates. We started from small and medium enterprises, and then obviously the bigger the better. But also we try to invest in Italian founders, because not only the Italian ecosystem cannot grow only with Italians in Italy, but also with all the Italians that are out there. So most of the brilliant Italians are abroad. They do create startups, they do create innovation abroad, and for them it's really a dream to come back to Italy. So sometimes it's also a way to repopulate the ecosystem in Italy and give some very good examples on how things are done in different countries.
Thank you. And getting again to Italy ecosystem in particular with Intesa Sanpaolo, Adam, how is Intesa Sanpaolo supporting the Italian ecosystem? What you do and how, basically it's your role around making sure that the cross collaboration we were talking before is actually happening in Italy and we can incorporate best practice from international ecosystem.
Absolutely. I would like to state that the Italian ecosystem in general is quite a young ecosystem. So it requires a special formula in which we have to actually define that creates value for all the stakeholders. Not only the startups, but the corporates, the institutions that we are actually providing services, that we are introducing startups to the corporates for our open innovation initiatives. We are creating applied research projects involving also the universities in order to try to support the technology transfer initiatives in collaboration with other partners. We are trying to also stay ahead with the investors community in order to actually give attention to the particular startups that we are supporting throughout our acceleration program, technology transfer, venture building, and also collaboration with research centers as well. So we have that kind of overview and also the ecosystem enabling initiatives that are trying to serve all the stakeholders of the ecosystem. This is very important because by definition, the good ecosystem is that creating value for all the stakeholders, not only the corporate, not necessarily the startup. And having actually Italy as a young ecosystem, we need to actually provide all the services that covering all the stakeholders as a competence center for the group, but as a competence center for Italy.
And Jonathan, maybe you can add also your point around the ecosystem and what you learn also in order of ecosystem fixing the planet, kind of.
Sure. So if we take a step back, factors of productions, land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Land's probably not so important anymore. We live in cities. Labor, so you need somewhere where people want to go and live, particularly young people, where there's a good science base, good universities at least. And then the problems that strike Europe pretty much everywhere, which is the capital part, particularly in Germany, and the enterprise. From Berlin, for example, it's very good. There's a lot of state support for very early stage startups. But when it comes to investors to go beyond that, it's not very good. There needs to be incentives for investors. UK is perhaps a little bit of a better model than that, insofar as I think private investors and markets are much better at fixing things than governments, to be honest. And then, of course, there's the enterprise side of things. Having great scientists and great ideas and great product people is great, but you need to sell it. And you need to unify all of that together. So if you can somehow pull all of that together, then you've got, you'll have a recipe for success.
Cool. Great. I think that the next round of questions is more to understand how we can grow the ecosystem, because we were talking about what the ecosystem is, which are the different stakeholders, what is the international versus Italian situation, let's say, and also how basically all the players can interconnect. But now, if we're talking about growing and kickstart growth for the different ecosystem, I think that that's also important to understand not only how important is growing for the different startups, but also which are the best practices that startups can have, and which is the point of view of corporates and VC in order to make sure that this growth is actually happening. So, Can, again, starting from you.
I think there were already a couple of great points that were floated around this panel on growing the ecosystem. For example, building better ties with the end markets and tapping that diaspora talent that you mentioned, and helping those guys come back to Italy and build their development functions back home as opposed to in London or Paris, wherever it may be, is a great way to grow the supply of technology talent, like technical talent in the scene. And then another great way, I think, is supporting these high-tech growth companies. For example, I know that Bending Spoons out of Italy is a great software company that's crunching out new AI applications, day in, day out. And I'm sure that company will be a great hotbed of talent for the next generation of entrepreneurs that will build, global software products as opposed to more locally facing stuff. Because in Europe, the European early stage ecosystem ails from this fragmentation problem that Europe isn't one market fits all, unfortunately, although it seems like it is from a political perspective. So I think the best way to do it is just building better ties with the most mature markets like London or the Bay Area, and then hoping that the talent comes back somehow in some shape or form back to Italy, which will take you guys to the next step. And the best example of that is Israel, for example, where they have no local markets, no peripheral markets to speak of, but their only market is the US, and they're one of the most prolific and the most valuable early stage ecosystems globally.
Very good point. Thank you. And Felix, what we can say about shared resource and data when it comes to scaling ecosystem? How are they important?
Yeah, so exactly when you're trying to scale an ecosystem, my point of view or our point of view at Common Foundry has always been to provide tangible value to all ecosystem partners, because when there's an actual value case, when you have a collaboration that saves the corporate millions and the startup gets early revenue from a world-leading industrial company, things start happening on their own. So we don't believe in just networking and talking about it, but actually creating, also similar to any, creating business cases, business needs that can be fulfilled with POCs, and then sharing that data to show that, okay, there is a success that can be brought to the table when you work with startups, and then the demand starts happening on its own. Basically, you show that there's value to be created, and then more and more ecosystem players will kind of get curious and start working with startups as well.
And Silvia, getting back to Annie, what is the experience of Annie interacting with different ecosystems? How we can make sure that also this interaction is fueling growth?
So yeah, I always quote here my panelists, because actually you were right. So some of the ecosystems that we've been studying in the past, actually they've changed the approach, or maybe the more earliest one are the one that now are actually of our interest. So it's really depending. So we need to see the world at a global scale, a global level, which is kind of difficult because we're not a big team. So we need to be in the global scale when looking at startups. So the real value is not close. It's not really close. So that's what we do when looking at ecosystems. So we have 3 steps and 3 stages. The first one is really studying why we are there, what's the reports, what's the trends in the area. And before you described Baltics area. So this year we focused on the Nordics, for example. So we've been asking ourselves, so why? So what is going on there? So we are studying that ecosystem, not really interacting with them. So that's the second step, for example. So the second step is querying that ecosystem. So launching calls, or for example, understanding what's there, so what the startups are there, how they can help us, because that's the final issue, the final point, solving business challenge. That's our issue, that's what we have. And then the third step, and then in the second one, I think, as an example for E&I, we have Toronto, so the Canadian area in general, so on clean tech and AI sector specifically. And then the third step, I would say, is more engaging, which is not just related to startups, but it's really more a comprehensive approach within the ecosystem. That's what we've been talking before, right? And there, I think, of course, the only area is the Bay Area. And we've been there since 2021, and we are actively engaging with the community, with the startups, with investors, with institutions. So that's the final goal of the ecosystem for E&I. It's to engage with them and to, of course, to work with startups.
Thank you. And Antonio, from Field Venture, which is the success part of being a successful ecosystem, like as a startup? What do you think that means for a successful startup in a successful ecosystem?
But to be a successful startup, you basically need to generate value. So it's the basic, as they were saying before, for the entire ecosystem. In Italy, in particular, you need to be very careful because aside from the big major like Eni, our industrial ecosystem is made of small and medium enterprises. So you really need to be very pragmatic because the entrepreneurs of the previous generation they really like tangible results. So when you start connecting the dots with a startup, with entrepreneurs, they appreciate the value that the startup can generate, and therefore they are more interested into reinvesting, into sharing knowledge, into welcoming POC with the startups in their own company, and that's what basically brings up the entire ecosystem and generates value for all of them. As a founder, the success is when you understand your end goal, where you want to go, what is the journey that you have to go through, and you you know, you are aware of all the risks that you have to face in that journey. And not necessarily you know how to solve those risks, but at least you know you have an attitude that will help you to solve deals. I mean, most of the unicorns that we have in the history in the US are born from founders that at the very beginning nobody believed in them. So you need to be resilient, but also you need to be aware that if you don't manage to communicate well and generate the real value, people just don't look at you and they move on.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, value is super important. And getting back to the Italian ecosystem, Adam, I think that which are the lessons learned that you and the Intesa San Paolo Success Center actually got in Italy? I think that it's linked to the best practice a little bit, but it's more on what best practice you have actually learned.
If you have the right vision and the right approach, you can get also results also in the young ecosystem such as Italy. Because we are measuring also our results, not only because how many startups that we are supporting on a daily basis, but those startups, what kind of collaborations they are doing with corporates on a national level, but also the international level. How many startups is gaining actually the attention from the investors, not only the local ones, but also the international ones, throughout the support of the network of Intesa San Paolo. How many jobs they are created, these startups. Those are actually one of the lessons learned, that if you are providing the service to the ecosystem, that the service will be actually realized throughout the values that created by the ecosystem. In a nutshell, this is very important, not only focus on the startups, but also the corporates and the investors side that are very, very active in all the ecosystem that is working very well. As I mentioned earlier, Italian ecosystems are very young, so it requires a different approach such as the Silicon Valley, because we would like to create not only competencies, but we would like to also import the competencies from the international ecosystems that could work also in locally. But it requires attention, requires services, and requires the vision and the right approach in order to actually gain value from the ecosystem of Italy.
Cool, thank you very much. And I think last point, Jonathan, I wanted to ask and raise with you, because we talk about startups, we talk about ecosystem growing, and with you maybe we can touch a little bit on the investor part. How do you think is important investors and how much is the value that they can bring to startups?
It's a good question, and it's different at each stage. If you're, I mean, at the very early stages, particularly if you're doing something quite sciencey, I think you're going to want business angels around you that are going to help to link you in with the right people. But then at a point in time, the business side has to kick in. And with a growing business side, hopefully you then start to attract the right investor base. I mean, again, from a Berlin point of view, over the last 5 years, you've seen more VCs move in, albeit from a very, very low base. But then there has to be things for them to invest in and to work on and you know, to basically add value to. It takes time, but again, free flow of capital, I mean, that's an EU problem. I think, you know, one capital market would be a great next move by the European Commission, to be honest. This is something that needs to happen in the background too.
Cool. Thank you very much. I think that's it on my side, and I think it was a very thoughtful panel talking about investment and investment ecosystem and how to make them growth across the different players. So VCs and startups and corporates, but overall ecosystem in general. So thank you very much for your inputs and insights, and enjoy the rest of SMAO. Thank you.
Thank you.